Your body is a temple. We've all heard that phrase. It sounds like a cliche, possibly some eye rolling as I talk about it. Your body is also like a car. So, which I think is a better phrase to work with. When we think of the body as a temple, we start to think we've got to be in this complete Zen state. We've got to eat exactly the correct amount of foods all the time, do exactly the correct amount of movement, meditation, and it becomes a very almost unattainable space. And that is not creating a healthy, happy relationship with your body. I have always said, and I've seen this and heard this for 30 years now, you will have many relationships in your life. The biggest relationship, the most important relationship you will ever have is the one you have with your body, not anyone else's body, your body. And I think it's the one we pay the least attention to. It's the one that we are least guided over. And yet it's the one we spend the longest time with. From the minute we're born, we're in relationship to our bodies. And how we're guided in those early years affects how we grow up relating to our body as we go through life. And I think what then can happen when we start to become conscious to this relationship, we then go into a heightened sense of, I've got to get this right. Hence, the body is a temple. And I don't think that's maintainable. I don't think that's maintainable for life. I think it's thinking more about the body as like a car. So, your car, if you put the incorrect petrol in the car or diesel or whatever, however you're fueling it or getting it to run, it won't function, it won't run. If something goes wrong or drops off or you hear a funny noise, the first thing you do is take it to the mechanic. Or if you're skilled, you fix it yourself, or you get on YouTube or Google. But you pay attention and you make adjustments and you start to listen. And you wouldn't dream of not doing that with your car. So why we do that with our bodies? Why do we do that with our bodies? Why do we not listen to them? Why do we just override to keep going in the rat race of life? And when I say the rat race of life, it doesn't even have to be about sort of trying to, I think that phrase conjures up I think of like an 80s business person, power busting their way through the world to become a millionaire. And that's not what this is about. This is about nurturing ourselves through life. And I think when we get into that state of overriding, like I'm saying, it's not about getting to that sort of that space. It's literally just about going, well, I've got to get, I've got to feed myself correctly. I've got to shower. I've got to get the kids to school. I've got to go to work, or I've got to run a business. I've got to check on the parents or other relatives. I've got to have a good social life. I've got to stay connected with friends. So a lot of our attention and time goes outside of ourselves into all these other areas. And then we wonder why things start to go awry in our systems, in our bodies. Or sometimes we don't even notice at that point. Sometimes we don't even notice until the body is at what I call screaming pitch, at fever pitch, at screaming levels. And we go to the doctor, and then we might get a large health diagnosis, and we go, wow, where did that come from? And I'm on a bit of a mission to get people listening sooner. Having had 2 near-death experiences through ill health, one in my 20s with menstrual hemorrhaging that nearly killed me through blood loss, and the second in my 30s through cervical cancer, where I was given 6 months to live. I feel the rest of the world can do a lot better than that. So I clearly wasn't listening. And that's not true, actually. I was listening and trying to make changes, but not fine-tuning enough at the earliest point possible. But when I first started to have problems in my late teens, I had no guidance around that listening space with my body and tuning in and finding out what it was trying to communicate to me through extreme menstrual hemorrhaging. By the time I was in my 30s, I'd had several years of doing a lot of mind body study out in California. So I had more of a working understanding of that. So when I got the cancer diagnosis, I literally went, well, let's see if this works. Let's see if this works. And it did. It took me 4 years. It was not fast, but I took the time. I changed my life. I literally ripped the floorboards up of who I thought I was. I figured my survival was worth anything. And I was taking no prisoners. And I was able to heal. It was hard work. There were lots of tears along the way, lots of sweat. But, 20 years on, I'm still here. And it's not a once and done. I have to continually pay attention to my health and well-being. I have to continually check I'm listening to my body. I have to continually make adjustments and tweaks as I go along. And that's just the reality. And I watch other people out there gambling with their bodies, their energy levels, their health. And I know I can't do that for anything. And I do maintain that without a body, half the stuff we worry about wouldn't be an issue. So nurturing, responding to well, and enjoying and making your body happy should be the first on everybody's priority list, should be above everything else. Because if you haven't got a happy, healthy body, you can't go and run a business. You can't go and look after the kids, the parents, the grandparents. You can't do any of that. So our first priority has to be to ourselves and our bodies. And so that is my passion and mission in life, particularly working with women to help them create happier, healthy relationships with their bodies. And we do this through movement. Many of you will have seen our carnival posts, still coming out of that space, which is one way of getting connected to your body through movement. Also, in that space, we are connected to other women and bodies through movement. But movement is a real key component. I personally love all kinds of movement. Dance is the biggest passion of mine, but I also like running, cycling, and swimming. And I feel that everybody should, at some point every day, be in a state of motion, whatever that is for you. Dancing may not be your thing. It may be something else. It may be kickboxing. It may be football. It may be parkour, roller skating. It could be anything. But our bodies are designed to be in motion. They are happiest when they are in motion. And they are usually doing the most healing when they're in motion as well. So movement is a big part of creating that relationship with our bodies. That it's a bit like the bridge between ourselves, our minds, however you regard that space, and our bodies. And so when we get them in a sense of mindful motion, and again, doesn't have to be anything static or quiet, but it can be. So it doesn't, people think mindful motion yoga. I think mindful motion is anything, being in motion in a state of consciousness mentally. So you are present mentally when you are in that state. You don't have to be doing quiet movement to do that. When I teach my dance fitness class, Dance Groove, when it runs at its best and there's complete flow, it's because mentally I am completely present. I'm connected to my body. I'm tuned into the music. I'm connected, reading the class clairvoyantly, and then I'm delivering from that space. So mindful motion, being in motion and being mindful. So if I was to give you homework, it is to make sure you have done at least 10 minutes of mindful movement today. Now, that could be anything. It could be 5 minutes walk around the block one way, 5 minutes walk around the block the other way. It could be 10 minutes walk around your garden. It could be putting music on in your kitchen that you absolutely love and going wild for 10 minutes. That's one of my favorite spaces. It could be if you are not incapacitated, but if you are unable to do a lot of highly mobile movement, you could do it all from the chair, sitting on the chair, waving arms and legs around to your favorite tracks. There are so many things. We could be running up and down the stairs for 10 minutes. The idea is to be present. We can even house clean in a space of mental being in the present. So that is the homework. And what I offer are online classes in dance, movement, and fitness. So if you're interested in working with me, DM me the word move, and I will send you my current timetable. Have a really great afternoon, morning, evening, wherever you are in the world. And if you're not sure where you're at with any of it, DM me anyway. I love to get into conversations with people about the power of movement and how important it is, not just to our healing process, but to our relationship with our bodies. All right. Bye for now.